Now we transition into the men's semi-finals. Filipe Toledo up against Jordy Smith. Jordy going into this one, you'd have to say, as the underdog, even though he's a former event champ here.
Yeah, that's a good call, you know, and for Tyler and Steph, they kind of set the tempo today. The veterans, you know, they're going to have their way. I will say today with the lineup, the waves that's on offer today, Ronnie, it's predictable. You know, it's not very shifty. You know, this hurricane swell that's upon us right now, it's got these really pure lines. That being said, it is lully. You know, there's 10 minutes at a time where it goes quiet, and that's going to, you know, make these guys just a little nervous. And much like Stephanie Gilmore, I feel like, you know, of course, you know, Jordy, you know, has a little better of a shot at winning a world title on the men's side. And so, but I think the focus will be the same in that he just wants to win an event. So this is actually a good matchup for him because Filipe, arguably the hardest guy to beat in this lineup right now. Get him out of the way now in the semis.
Here we go. Movement out the back. Filipe Toledo. What a start to the day. He plugs one of the biggest airs that we've seen in the event. Just the one turn. How high can the judges take it?
Oh my gosh. Filipe does the kind of surfing that just straight up makes you laugh. It's laughable. It doesn't seem real. Again, he barely had a section to work with to gain speed. It didn't matter for him. One quick bottom turn and he's launching 6 foot into the air. Watch how high this man's surfboard gets above that wave. That's crazy. That tail was almost 6 feet out of the water. And again, he had, what, 10, 15 yards to work with? 1, 2, just 3 little pumps, and he's that high out of the water. A lot of times you see an error that big, that means the guy has been coasting for 100 yards, pumping as much as he can to get speed. Filipe, that's that spring that he gets. Right here, he's going to load up. There's the coil. And he's going to pop. Now he's going to fling that tail out high. I love the fact that he's off axis. Amazing right there. Jordy Smith had to watch that go down. So, okay, first things first, that's a closeout. That's not a typical score at lowers. You're thinking, yeah, you go ahead and have that wave. He's going to get a decent score out of that, just one move.
And a big score. An 8.33. Let's have a look at it from the water perspective. We'll see the height in this move.
Yeah, absolutely amazing again, and a good call from Strider. You know, it's one thing for the judges to be impressed by what he actually did, but to land it with that much ease makes it that much more impressive.
Haven't seen too many big numbers dropped on the left-handers today, but Toledo might change that with this ride. Just bashing away at this one. And just a solid little back up to the 8.7, so just putting the thumb on Jordy Smith's head, really pressing hard, applying some pressure and making him maybe start to think about what his game plan is going to be moving forward.
I think he's accomplished a lot with just that 8.3. Of course, he's accomplished getting a keeper of a score, but he's made a statement. And, you know, that can work. And, his history has showed against Jordy Smith, you know, if you put some pressure on him quick, he can start to make clumsy decisions. So I guarantee you, Filipe, you know, he went into this heat thinking, okay, you know what, I'm going to go out there right away, apply some pressure to the big South African and see how he responds. And he's already got, you know, a decent backup score to go with that big air.
Got a wave approaching. Jordy's going to get his first crack at a score here. The big South African, who does live here in San Clemente. He used priority on that wave. No dramas though. Filipe also took a ride and he rode it a little further than Jordy, so Jordy's going to get back into that position of priority.
Both surfers genuinely confused by that wave. It was a nice set, but it didn't have great shape. It was more or less a closeout.
And Jordy scrambles back into position. And he'll have a crack at this one. Let's see what he can do. Into that first section. Doesn't release the tail. I like the power, just changing things up. Now he sets those fins free for a moment, rolling through to the inside. Kicks it once again on the closeout. 3 moves, a lot of variation. This should be a good score.
Great tempo right there for Jordy. I like the way that he defined each maneuver. It was very clean. He didn't look like he was rushed. He waited for that section to, you know, present itself in front of him, and he went for a big old tail slide. On the left-hander, same wave as Jordy Smith going right. We got Filipe staying very busy on his backhand. Pretty nice snap there, but that wave not cooperating, so that will not be a keeper. But again, this entire event on this particular surfboard, he's been powerful, but he's also, it's as if he's got loose trucks. He's really sliding that board around right there. But he's pushing hard, and that's the cool thing. He's not skating and kind of pretending to, push that tail out. He's grunting through these turns and then sliding out. So even though it's a bit of a skatey move, he really is, putting his Jordy Smith stamp on it.
Solid finish, so the score's yet to drop in. But from the water, you can see the speed that Jordy carries through his surfing.
We're impressed, but if you go for it, if you really launch and perform one of the most difficult maneuvers possible on a wave, you're going to be heavily rewarded.
Well, Jordy's going to take this one without priority, racing down the line, looking for something big here. Digs in hard, not a lot of wall to push back on there. So Jordy goes down and Filipe gets an opportunity to dump the 6.17 and move further ahead. Razor sharp first turn, still powering down the line. Hoiks into the spin and uncharacteristically doesn't pull that move off, just on 17.5 minutes to go here. And Jordy didn't lose his cool. He didn't get overwhelmed by the fact he was coming up against the form surfer. And I think Barton's spot on. If he can keep his head together here, he's a really good chance at getting the jump on Filipe. Here we go, Jordy Smith with that priority now. Looking to take the lead with this ride, drives off the bottom. Has been so solid with some big hits throughout the rounds. And he continues to bash away at this wave, and there is the combination of 3 turns, and it's something Jordy does so well. Wow. He also celebrates in fine form.
That was amazing. Well, he's got so much adrenaline pumping through his veins. He just kept that flow up. He didn't really even push too hard on his rail. For this was a great response to this wave. A lot of spray on that first turn, but again, the main thing with this wave that's so impressive is his linkage. Between each turn, he kept that flow up, which, by the way, was very necessary. This was a fast wave. So when you have a wave with this kind of tempo, you don't have the luxury of sitting on one big turn. You really have to keep that momentum going down the line. But he really was able to put a good amount of pressure on that board. So it's not as if he was just tagging little linked up turns. He really threw down some pretty, heavy aggression at each maneuver, again, which was so impressive because that wave was quick. And that claim right there was awesome. He has got to be psyched because he's got it, with that big score that was thrown at him from Filipe, he's thinking, wow, I'm up against it. So he's proud of himself, I guarantee, with that response running. Well, the psychology of every heat is almost just as interesting as the actual surfing that's going down. You saw on that 2-box there, Ricardo Toledo, Filipe's dad, trying to get him into position, but he's letting this one go.
So now Jordy looking to drop an 8 to extend his lead here. Wow! That is one of the turns of the event, just ripping through that carb, drifting that tail, but losing it on the second maneuver. That was potentially on its way to bettering his position, Ross.
That was big. And again, that surfboard, it's allowing Jordy to surf so fluid. He's got a lot of speed, and he's been skating around. Those fins have almost been absent. It looks like he's almost riding a twin fin, but he's doing those slides with power. And right there, that was huge. Jordy Smith, amazing, 6'3", and every inch of that frame got pushed.
Time is ticking by. Filipe has spotted something. 10 seconds to go. I'm not sure this wave is going to reach the lineup in time. The onside announcer is getting set to count this one down, and Filipe is not going to get to his feet in time. Jordy Smith has gotten the jump on Filipe on a day where almost everyone would have picked Filipe to get the job done. So Jordy marching on through to the final.